We're with David Shapiro. David is a criminal attorney in San Diego, California. He's agreed to answer some online questions related to drug offenses. With that said, let's go into our first question. How often do drug cases go to trial?
Well, that depends. Depends on the facts of the case. It depends on the circumstances of the case. It depends on how good or how bad of an offer is being made or what we're able to work out on behalf of the client. And most importantly, it depends on what the client wants, because the right whether or not to go to trial, whether or not to enter a plea is 100% within the domain and discretion of the actual defendant, in this case, my clients. Generally speaking, the rule is, 92% of cases, 93% of cases don't go to trial. In general, a lot of cases may get set for trial, and then you start pressing to work something out on their end, meaning the prosecutor's end, or on our end. It all depends on the facts of the case. But, what I could say is that, my position is, get the best deal possible for my clients, explain them the consequences if they take it, if the consequences and the risk that they don't take it, and leave it up to them. And, I've tried cases where we didn't have a defense in the world, and we went to trial solely because my client wanted to exercise his or her constitutional rights, even against my better judgment. And, we've resolved cases that I was chomping at the bit, so to speak, to go to trial on it, because I thought it was a really good issue, but the client didn't want to deal with the risk associated, the time associated, the cost associated with taking the case to trial. So it all depends on the specific facts of the case, the client's past criminal history, if any, the specific courthouse we're in. Some places you tend to get better deals than others, particularly within San Diego County. So there's way too many variables to go into it, but it's ultimately up to the client to decide.
Okay, next question. I'm facing a very large series of charges: possession, sale, and trafficking, all of which due to the police coming to my house for a domestic violence disturbance. They came in my house without a warrant. I'm obviously most concerned about the drug charges. Do I have a case?
Well, it depends. It depends on a lot of factors. The first thing you want to look at is what was the basis for the initial law enforcement contact. Basically, why they come to the house, why they get into the house. If you're saying it's a domestic disturbance, then the issue is who let them in the house. Do they have a reason, if no one let them in the house, for them to be in the house, like a safety check or a welfare check, or if they heard something or alleged to have seen something or heard something going on inside the house. That's the first thing. So whatever the case is, whether it's a DUI, a drug case, or whatever you want to see, well, what's the basis for the initial detention? What's the basis for the arrest? And then you look at certain factors: where they found the drugs, who, if anyone, said the drugs were yours, what statements, if any, did you make? Were there items of dominion and control of yours near the drugs? What that means is, it's a more difficult sell to say the drugs weren't yours if they're under pieces of mail of yours and a book with your name in it, as opposed to, yeah, I rent a room in that house, but how am I supposed to know what's going on in the guest bathroom, or what's going on in the garage if I'm one of 5 people in the house? So, whether or not you have a good case, that stuff gets fleshed out over time when we see the reports, and we explore any and all options to do what we can. Certainly, the possession for sale is the bigger concern than simple possession. And, the domestic violence, assuming you're charged for that, would be of concern as well, because that has some pretty serious consequences for a number of reasons going forward. So, too early to tell based on that, but there may be some issue there, there may not. The goal is obviously to make sure you get yourself the right attorney to be able to flush out those issues, exploit any issues that are there in the case to your advantage, and at the very least, give you some peace of mind knowing that we've looked through everything, and you really might not have an issue here, you might not have an issue here, you might only have an issue here, or it might be 100% a mitigation case, meaning trying to get you the best possible outcome given the state of the evidence. So, make sure you hire the right attorney, and he or she should be able to advise you. The more evidence you get, the more discovery they get, the more they get into the case, the better they can advise you.
Okay. Next one was, I'm facing a transport charge and cross state lines. Do you handle federal cases?
Yes, I do. Particularly federal drug cases. I have a decent amount of experience in handling federal drug smuggling cases, whether it's coming in from Mexico, whether it's a cross state line situation like in yours. It may also be prosecuted statewide. Just because you cross drugs state lines doesn't mean it's necessarily a federal issue. It could be, but recently the feds, in my experience, at least here in Southern California, San Diego, lower level drug stuff have been deferring those to the states. Here in San Diego, there's a lot of cases known as HIDTA, HIDTA, High Intensity Drug Traffic Area, I believe is the acronym for that. And it's border bust cases. If you come across the border at Otay Mesa or San Ysidro Port of Entry and you have 100 pounds of marijuana in your car, unless you have a pretty bad record, you're more likely not going to be prosecuted in state court. Even bringing drugs through San Diego through different parts of the county, it's probably going to be a state court thing. Even shipping drugs, there's been a lot of crackdowns on shipping stuff through FedEx or prescription pills without a prescription, that type of thing. Unless it's heavy duty, the feds will get involved. But if it's not too heavy, a lot of times it'll still be a state case. But to answer your question, yes, I do have experience dealing with federal drug cases.
Okay, this one's fairly specific. I was with some friends, and we were all charged with possession of ecstasy. I'm a Marine, and want to know if you have dealt with with situations like this before. My friends are civilians. I'm not sure what I should do or if I'm going to be booted from the Corps. Please advise.
Well, first thing you want to do is you want to get yourself a civilian criminal defense attorney, and you also want to inquire what your rights are with respect to the military. I would certainly be in a position to be able to advise you and direct you to the right people, I believe, to contact in the military. People have experienced military courts, former military members who are criminal defense attorneys. As it relates to the civilian case, you definitely want to hire an attorney who has experience in those types of cases. And, a lot of it will go into, just like the similar answer, previous answers, very similar. Where were the drugs found? Who were the drugs found on? Who were the drugs found near? Whose car was it? Whose house was it? Those types of things. Who, if anyone, was pointing the finger at you as the person possessing the drugs? All those factors go into drug cases. If there's a couple of people and everyone's pointing the finger at each other, well, that's a good case. If it's, everyone's pointing the finger at you and they were found on you, well, maybe that's not a great case, especially if there's not a issue related to a search or seizure of the actual drugs. But, less is more when it comes to any criminal investigation. What I mean by that is don't say a whole lot, if anything, to law enforcement. Just keep your mouth closed, exert your constitutional right to have an attorney present, contact and hire a good attorney. And, as far as the military stuff, you want to hire someone or deal with the JAG officer there who will represent you and have your interests. Because my experience is, representing a lot of people throughout the years who have been active duty is, the military wants to get rid of you. They can get rid of you even if you're not convicted, just based on the underlying arrest. It's amazing how quickly they could get civilian police reports. And, ideally, if you beat the case, you work out a really good deal. We keep that in mind to try and protect your military interest. But, sometimes even on relatively minor stuff, if the military wants to get rid of you, particularly with the Marines, they will. If they want to give you another chance, they will. At least that's been my experience here in Southern California.
Okay. Last question we had is I need an attorney for a drug sale charge, but I don't have any cash. Do you take collateral?
It's an interesting question because that's actually almost a defense to a drug sales charge if you don't have any money on you, because you couldn't have been selling too much. But what I could say is I have once in a blue moon taken collateral. I usually don't like to do it for a couple of reasons. One is it's a lot more work on my end, and I turn into more of a debt collector than an attorney. And that's usually not how I like to run my business, but it depends. If it's junk collateral, no, I wouldn't be interested in that. If it's something like metals or whatever, I would say, hey, try and sell it yourself and bring me the money as the retainer. But, under the right circumstances, the right case, the right client, I would be flexible enough to consider it. I don't want to rule it out, but I would consider it. But I would prefer it, obviously, to be paid in normal currency, check, cash, credit card.
Oh, we had a lag there. Do I still have you there?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, yeah, there's just about a 5-second lag. Well, we did get the answer to that. So, all right, well, thanks for your time, David. If you have any additional questions, all you need to do is post your questions to the comment section below. He's agreed to get back with answers directly to you online. With that said, David, thanks for your time.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. Like he said there, any questions you guys have, feel free to give me a call. If not myself, my staff could point you in the right direction, at my direction, to make sure you protect yourself, you protect your rights, and you minimize the damage done and get a good outcome on your case.
Thanks, David.
You got it. Thank you.